We're good. What a song, huh?
You know, I was never the biggest fan of this song, but, you know, I don't know. Now Becky's just, I mean, who would have ever expected what's going on right now to be Becky Lynch out of all of them? It really seems like she's going to be the female Stone Cold because of how this whole thing is developed. And it's kind of cool because she's doing a great job. I mean, it's exciting to watch.
She's knocking it out of the park. We'll get to what happened last night in a second because might have some bad news for everybody. Afraid I have some bad news.
Yeah, well, and I have something to piggyback off that too. Because
but she's killing it. And here's the thing: it's almost like because they were positioning Charlotte the way they were, like they wanted the writers, Road Dogg, whoever we're gonna blame this week for what happened with Charlotte. But there was somebody in charge who decided that Charlotte was going to be the babyface and Becky was going to be the heel. And the fans responded to it because it was almost like they saw what happened to everyone. Like when Roman Reigns was pushed as the man, to use the phrase, they saw what happened to everybody else. Seth Rollins had to go down a peg. Dean had to go down a peg. Braun had to go down a peg. Everybody had to go down a peg. They didn't want that to happen to Becky. So the fans kept that momentum, even though the booking was still Becky's going to come out here as a heel. It is very reminiscent of Stone Cold and Bret Hart.
Bret Hart. I was waiting for you to finish so I could throw that in because that's what it's reminding me of. It's like the crowd, you know, who you thought was going to be behind Bret went behind Austin, and then, you know,
and they didn't get it back then either. It took them a while to get it. They're like, but this Bret Hart, he's so nice. He's polite. He wrestles well. He's like, there are a lot of positives about Bret Hart, but the problem was he ran into Stone Cold,
right?
Who was just like, it was completely different direction. Not that Stone Cold wasn't a good wrestler or wasn't before his neck injury, but it was just a different style of like,
much different style because Bret Hart was all about, you know, the excellence of execution.
Right.
He was always about being technical and everything else. And then, you know, Austin was more of the brawler, you know, just badass. You know, I don't give a shit. And then the best thing they ever did to him was do the Austin McMahon feud because, you know, who doesn't want to kick their boss's ass and get paid to do it? So, and Vince was just always so good at being the villain and you know, so it just always worked. But man, Becky Lynch, I'm loving everything about it. And I guess we'll definitely talk about Raw, and we'll definitely talk about the end of Raw because that was probably one of the best moments of Raw. Now the results of that.
What is playing? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I must have had a Bluetooth speaker going on. So that really freaked me out. I thought I had a ghost or something in my house. Keep going.
No, you're good. So I guess you know what? I guess, listen, so the end of Raw, if you were able to make it to the end, had a great finish with the invasion, this time with the women. And they did a great job. Although I think this might be the last time we see that on a take-home show before one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, because now, because of that, it appears the rumors may be very true that this match now with Becky and Ronda is not happening because Becky suffered a broken nose and concussion and will not be cleared. So the one match everybody, I think, was the most excited to see, you know,
the potential main event of the show.
Right. And
surprise.
So how did that happen? Kat was having trouble getting on, and well, there she is.
My boss graciously enough told me to turn my cell phone off for work calls and goes, go tell the boys and go kick some ass.
Oh, hey, that was nice.
I like your boss.
Yeah,
he's an avid fan now. He listens every week.
All right. Well, there we go.
We appreciate it. Listen, so just to kind of catch you up, we went right into obviously Becky Lynch. We're talking about, you know, how she's become really the female Stone Cold. And we're talking about the end of Raw. leading into now what appears to be we're going to lose the one match that we probably all wanted to see more than anything, which is Ronda Becky, which is unfortunate. And then the question is, well, what do you do? I mean, does that mean now it's going to go to Nia Jax? Because that's the next, you know.
Here's the problem. I'm sharing my screen right now in case people haven't seen it. There's a fan film of what happened, and if you watch this, this will loop over and over again. It kind of cuts away from the ring, cuts back, and you'll see Becky goes up to Nia, and here it comes. Just closed fist, haymaker right to the face. Nia didn't pull that punch. She didn't have, like, it wasn't a working punch. It was a follow through, full on screw you right to the face. And
she's apparently getting a lot of heat for this right now too.
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, dude, listen, I don't think it was intentional by any means.
Oh, I don't think it was intentional either, but it just looks bad.
It does look bad. It looks like she beat the shit out of her for real, but at the same time, in that moment with everything going on in that ring, and the adrenaline going and everything else, I definitely, listen, shit happens. You know what I mean? It's the wrestling business. And, listen, not for nothing, it made it that much more badass of a segment watching Becky Lynch bloody.
Oh, yeah, that was
standing there as the man. You know what I mean? So
it was amazing.
To keep going with our comparison of Stone Cold and Becky, that was her. She's in the Austin's in the sharpshooter bleeding moment.
Right.
That's Absolutely. The same thing for her. But it sucks that it's going to potentially come at the expense, because it seems like enough people are talking about it, but it hasn't actually been confirmed on the WWE website, correct? But it seems like we're going to get Becky pulled from this match due to concussion.
Right. And then, so what do you do? I mean, the only logical thing would be to have Nia. But then I don't know. The whole thing is screwed now.
Someone said if you put Ronda into the Survivor Series match and then add somebody else on the SmackDown side, and then just have a big women's, instead of champion versus champion, just do all the big name women kind of match. I don't know.
I'm just so bummed because, this is
one of the few matches I was really looking forward to.
Yeah. Right. I mean, how much are we going to get from AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar that we didn't get the first time, especially now that Brock is looking, he looks, at least body-wise, like he's going back into the UFC.
Seth Rollins, Shinsuke is going to be a good match.
That'll be a great match. That'll be great until Dean Ambrose pulls up in his 1992 red Trans Am.
Right.
Did anybody else see that?
Yeah, I was wondering who thought it was safe to do that fucking whole thing of fire right next to the car.
I'm trying to figure out who thought it was a good idea to keep a barrel that was smoking and then the wind was blowing directly in Dean's face and you could see him squinting because the smoke was burning his face, but he couldn't sell that the smoke was burning his face. The whole thing was silly. Why was he out there? Why did he have some crappy old Trans Am? Why was there a barrel? Why was it on fire? I understand the end of it was him throwing the shield gear into the fire, but man, there was a better way to do it. Yeah, right? Yes, it felt like Slick was going to come out with chicken bones or something and do a ritual. And I don't know.
It was a very weird segment.
It was, he can only do what they tell him to do. And if they tell him to stand in front of this ridiculous set.
And I want to just throw this out there too. What an amazing finish to the night with the women.
Absolutely.
And yet you still get Peyton Royce that can't sell a fucking clothesline and make your lead woman look shitty because she doesn't take the bump.
Well, at least Ronda kind of had an excuse that she got beat up beforehand, so maybe the explanation would be didn't have enough juice behind it.
Oh yeah, Ronda Rousey doesn't have enough juice.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's the only way to play it off. Peyton botched the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Yes. Dude, she was screaming at her. Come on.
That's crazy.
Ronda was screaming at her like, where the hell are you?
Ronda's promos are getting better and better every week.
Oh, yeah, big time.
She's playing. I mean, obviously she couldn't be, the heel, but then again, neither could Becky. So they're kind of doing now that the concussion kind of fucked the whole thing up, but they were both kind of babyface, but kind of heel. You know what I mean? Like they were both in that area where maybe they did do a double turn like Bret and Stone Cold did, or something, where they make Becky a big baby face and have like the 4 horsewomen of MMA come help Ronda, and Ronda's a heel now and Becky's baby face. I don't know. I don't know what they would have done. And I don't know what they are going to do, because if the match doesn't happen, we're back to square one.
We're going to have Charlotte Becky 2.0 now.
Well, maybe they were going to have Charlotte. The rumor was they were going to have Charlotte interfere to help Becky win and reform the 4 horsewomen, and they would do a whole 4 horsewomen of WWE versus the 4 horsewomen of UFC, which they wanted to do a while back, and then I guess a few of them backed out, but now they're back in.
Yeah, they didn't think. I think that the perception was there were 2 of the MMA girls who weren't as good as Ronda or Shayna, and they didn't think they were going to get there. And the girls themselves didn't think they were ever going to get to that point. So maybe something's changed. But it throws the whole event into a not a nosedive, but I mean, it throws it into question, because you do still have some good matches in there. You've got Shinsuke, Seth, and I mean, AJ Brock was a good match last time, but you just hope it doesn't fall into the same pattern that the more recent Brock Lesnar matches have fallen into, where he either can't work or doesn't want to work and just kind of does a 5 F5s and pins you. You know, it was like a couple German suplexes, a couple F5s, go home, go back to Saskatoon and eat an elk or whatever the fuck he does. I don't know.
Saskatoon. Did you have to do a Bret Hart, Ric Flair reference?
Well, he lives in Canada now.
I know, but all I ever think of when I hear that is Mr. Perfect Saskatoon. Who ever heard of Saskatoon?
Whoever. Yeah, we do that every so often, guys. We throw these deep references, and you gotta keep up. Or as what did Paul Heyman say last night? Google it, bitches. I like that.
Google it, bitches. Yeah.
And then, oh my god! To follow it up, I wish Amanda was not in Las Vegas. I mean, I'm sure she's having fun in Las Vegas, but I wish she was here to talk about the segment where Paul Heyman cuts another classic Paul Heyman promo like he's been doing for 30 years. Brock Lesnar standing next to him, bouncing up and down, flexing his pecs, all that other stuff. And goddamn Jinder Mahal comes out. And Jinder
I think
Mahal
we're all thinking about Amanda at that segment.
Right? And Shanti. And then the worst part, the cherry on top, not the worst part, because it really wasn't the worst. This was the best. The cherry on top was Brock turning to Paul Heyman saying, "Oh, you should probably listen to this. After all, you're Jewish." And then everybody in the world, not just Paul Heyman, not just the people at ringside, not just everybody who was watching that segment and who has rewatched it like I have 5 times, is wondering what the fuck he meant by Paul Heyman should listen to the Punjabi Indian guy because he's Jewish, as if somehow the Jainism or Buddhism or whatever it is that Jinder is preaching has anything to do with being Jewish. I need to know what Brock was thinking. This is like Rosebud at the, Citizen Kane, Rosebud. Yeah, it's like Rosebud. What did he mean by it? Like, I need to know before Brock
It's a fucking sleigh.
Yeah, but I know what the slide, spoiler alert for a 100-year-old movie, but what did Brock mean? Did he mean because you're Jewish, you should understand? I don't know. I
didn't get that at all, and
I love it.
It was amazing. But
anytime Brock Lesnar, come on, Paul, say something stupid. Why would you just say that and bury your own guy? Oh, it's wonderful.
No, but the segment of the night has to go to Elias pretending to call CPS on Lilo Rush.
That's funny.
That was hilarious.
Elias is great.
Was it as good as Bobby Lashley bending over and showing his butthole to everybody?
What in the fuck was that about?
Here's the problem. I think he was supposed to bend over and like point to his ass and be like, kiss my ass. And but because he's just a person carved out of a slab of granite, I don't think he has the charisma. Like, I love Bobby Lashley. I'm glad he's back, but we know he's not exactly a charisma machine. So somebody wrote in the notes for this segment, you bend over and show your butt to the audience. And period. And he did exactly that. He goes backstage, he goes, boss, I followed your instructions. And they say, bye, very well, Bobby. But really, he should have done more. He should have, I don't know. I don't want to give him tips on how to twerk or anything. I'm just saying, if you're going to bend over and instead of flexing your muscles, you just show your ass to the audience, you could do a little more. If this was the Attitude Era, he just would have mooned him, and that would have been the segment.
That's true.
Could have been the Kiss My Ass Club.
Right. Oh my God. And then Vince McMahon comes out, you're not going to kiss my ass. You're going to kiss this big, beautiful, black ass.
That was very funny.
I can picture him saying, look at it, JR. Look at it. What an ass. What a maneuver. This is what happens when we lose everybody else on the show. Half the show is gone. So I'm doing Vince McMahon Kiss My Black Ass Club. Well, oh God, we even came up with a name. Oh no.
I have something that I wanted to talk about. So the Sportster.com came out with an article. I shared it with you guys privately. And it was quite interesting. Actually, to give credit where credit is due, the Medulla actually sent it to me. And there's some things that I agree with in there. There's some things that I don't know, and some things make me wonder how long ago this was written. But it basically tells you the top 10 things that are already accomplished for the WWE in the future, and things that are potentially in the works, kind of thing. And
yes.
So the first one was ongoing Hulk Hogan returns, which, I mean, that's eminent. I mean, the reaction he got in fucking Saudi Arabia alone tells you that, the Immortal One needs to be around more. So we're going to get more Hogan. I mean, that I agree with.
I heard they were going to keep him on the down low for a while. And then, they haven't really mentioned Hulk Hogan coming back since that show. So I think they're picking their spot for what show he's going to come back on and what kind of big, because obviously he's going to get a big pop. So we'll see.
Over Twitter, Rusev is already challenging him to a Mania fight, which
I love that.
I do too. Except I don't want to see Hogan get back in the ring. I don't think.
No. I want to. I mean, listen. I've pitched this several times over the last year. I think Rusev being helped by Hogan to be an immigrant version of Hulk Hogan. He moved from Bulgaria to fulfill the American dream of becoming a wrestler and all this stuff. And he's already ripping the t-shirt. He's already got a good personality. He's a funny guy. Just imagine the back and forth with him and Hogan would be fantastic.
Yeah, that's true. I'll give you that.
Because there are some post-match interviews for the Mixed Match Challenge. I don't know if you've been watching these, but when they interview him, he does the interview like he's a basketball coach. And he's like, yeah, we didn't go out there. We didn't play well. I missed a few 3-pointers. He's going through this whole shtick like he's Jim Boeheim or something, giving a basketball interview at the end of a game. And even at one point, Lana was like, all you do is talk about basketball. We're losing our matches. And he's like, they work really well together. And he's got such a charisma that if Bobby Lashley had Rusev's charisma, Bobby Lashley be unstoppable. But I'm excited to see what happens with the Hulk Hogan thing. If he confronts Rusev, if they work together, whatever it is, it'll be interesting to see what spot they decide to put him in.
Yeah, I mean, something's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
It's a matter of which direction they go in.
So what's the deal with this article? Is it you think it's inaccurate, or you think it's
Well, I don't know. I think some things are. The next one is it's reported that more UFC talent is going to be joining. Basically, it talks about Cyborg.
Yeah.
Then it mentions McGregor, which I don't think that's going to be happening.
I don't think so. I mean, they've already said Paige Van Zandt, who was on Dancing with the Stars, UFC fighter. She's been talking to Stephanie. That was an article I saw today.
Right.
So that'll be interesting because she's another one that's got a lot of name brand kind of recognition, and Yeah,
And
she
Cyborg is just badass.
Cyborg, yeah. I mean, Cyborg, and I maybe she's looking to get out too. The thing is, everybody saw Ronda do it, and they're like, "Well, I can do it," but it's
Right.
like, can you? Like Ronda she was a wrestling fan beforehand,
right.
and Chris Cyborg, I give her credit, but I mean, she's already kind of coming in at a disadvantage. She's a little bit older than everybody else. She's a little more masculine than everybody else. She has the accent. She's from Brazil. Like she's foreign, pal. You know what I mean? Like with that, this is where we're going with. But she's a badass. I mean, she'll pick you apart. So
yeah,
there's positives and negatives to that.
So there's and then like the next one, an ongoing, a dedicated UK show, which that'd
be nice.
Happen. That's probably going to happen. They're going to have their own thing on the network probably. Shawn Michaels wrestling at Mania 35. We pretty much all know that already. So it's stuff. It's like, but then like, now here's one, more female announcers. Now where I can see that as happening,
all the backstage announcers are already.
Right. But I think they're talking more like Renee, but I don't think you really need more than Renee right now. So, do I see like in the future? Yeah. Now here's one interesting, a Finn Balor heel turn.
I'd be okay with that.
I think we're way past do a heel turn. I think that's a great move. And I mean, that's something believable. I could definitely see that happening.
The thing that bothers me is they have 4 club members, for lack of a better term, on their roster, and only very briefly did they align AJ with the club. Balor has more history with those guys because those 3 guys basically founded the Bullet Club, I believe. So why wouldn't there be more? Like if Finn Balor turned heel, it would be really easy to stick him with the club and make it a thing because he's small and they're big and they're his heavies and they run interference for him and he wins. Like it writes itself. It's pro wrestling. This shit isn't hard.
Right. Now here's another one. Women headline Mania, and we were talking about that even last week. I mean, I think that's something that's very much a possibility for this Mania coming up.
Yeah, unfortunately, I thought they were going to test the waters with Becky and Ronda this month, but it looks like that might be thrown into question now. So I don't know, man. I'm hoping, if it's a good enough match.
I still think the money match is Charlotte versus Ronda.
Oh yeah, absolutely for WrestleMania for sure.
Yeah, that's money match.
Yeah, and what I'm saying, and that's what I mean when we say women being in the main event. I don't mean, sorry, Nikki Bella, but Nikki Bella is not the WrestleMania main event.
Only if she's taken on the Kardashians.
Oh my God, they did do that, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They did make that challenge.
The Bellas called out the Kardashians for WrestleMania,
they did that. No, for WrestleMania.
Was it for WrestleMania?
Yes, they did it on the People's Choice Awards the other night.
Jesus Christ! I thought it was just to a wrestling match. I didn't realize. Oh my fuck!
No, they called them out at Mania because they both won 2 different respective reality show things for E.
Yeah, if they announced it there, then that's setting it up because it's already planned.
Right.
Correct.
You know what would be great is if John Laurinaitis fought Caitlyn Jenner.
My money's on Caitlyn.
I think so too. I mean, hey, Olympian right there. You don't mess with that. Johnny A, and that would be funny promos. Johnny Ace, like, your voice sounds funny. And she's like, your voice sounds funny.
Oh my God. Oh my God, that would be epic.
More Bullet Club members, and then it shows a picture of Kenny Omega and Cody and the Young Bucks, and so I mean, listen, that's been an ongoing rumor for a while. The Young Bucks have already turned down multiple invitations. Kenny Omega has never ruled it out. The money's going to have to be right, and Cody, I mean, he's kind of a crapshoot because one minute you get the impression that he's open to it, and then. I think a lot of it, ultimately, if he was to come back sooner than later, it would be contingent on WWE allowing him to do an all-in too, because that's ultimately what I think he wants to do.
Yeah,
well, Cody's on the shelf right now anyway. He has to have surgery.
Oh, he's got a meniscus tear, so I don't.
Yes.
They're trying to rehab it and see. So a meniscus, as long as it's not completely torn, can grow back. It just depends on how torn it is and what his recovery time. So, which is good because I mean the thing is it could lead to surgery because they drained. Did you see the picture? He had like a big surgery. They drained that fluid out of his knee. Oh shit! That gave me flashbacks to my knee injury. I never got that.
They were worried that he had a torn ACL on top of it, and that was ruled out. So that was good.
But those guys have all left. As of the Jericho Cruise, they're considering themselves the elite. They've broken off from the Bullet Club. The Bullet Club is now Tama Tonga and Switchblade and Bad Luck Fale and all that. The Samoan guys and a couple other guys. So there's now a clear division between the elite and the Bullet Club. I have a question for you, Steve. This Sportster, were they the ones that posted the article that said Alexa was retiring?
No.
Okay. Who was the one that said? I don't know if we talk about this one. There was a report out that said Paige is taking bumps again and might be able to wrestle. Yeah,
she already retweeted back to that that's not true.
I'm trying to, and what I'm trying to say is like
I didn't tweet that out.
But I'm trying to figure like I'm glad I don't know the name because I almost don't want to give him the publicity of talking about him. There's one of those dirt sheets out there that is making up report. Literally, they posted an article that said Paige was taking bumps again, is ready, could come back, and then they said Mike Johnson of the Wrestling Observer said this, and then he goes on Twitter. He's like, guys, I never said this. Don't buy into it. This site is bullshit. And then Paige jumped in and was like, yeah, this is horseshit. If anything happens to my neck again, I could be in a wheelchair. So it's
okay. Well, Paige, the one about Alexa Bliss came from PW Insider.
Okay, and then Alexa Bliss, after that article was posted a picture of the Terminator. She said, like, I'll be back.
Right.
So she's good.
So if we want to give the person's name who was the source, I have it.
Is it Billy Body? No, who is it?
It was Mike Johnson.
Right. They said it was Mike. Of course, they always say it's Mike Johnson. Like they always say Meltzer says it or Dave Johnson said it. Like
the one that, like, if I share anything to the group or anything that I see, it's usually when I'm scrolling through Facebook, and more times than not, it's usually it's still real to us or like one of those, and those are pretty accurate. Like they don't.
Right.
They'll make sure they have a good source. Yeah.
Right. And for Paige says it's solely coming just from an online source. There's actually no name actually attached to it. So it could have been even a fan that was just starting to start bullshit.
Yeah, of course, it's a bullshit rumor. And for as much as you'd like to have Paige back in the ring, you can't just make up shit like that, man.
Yeah. Right. No, but that looks like it just came from a no name, nobody or whatever. It doesn't look like it came from any one in particular, because it was actually that it was a tweet that was sent to Paige. Are the rumors true? And she's like, I don't know who started the rumor.
Right. No.
Yeah. So, and I hate that because it does throw. Here's the thing. It's almost like in court or like on a court television show where the lawyer says something and the judge says, overruled, strike that from the record. But the jury still heard it. So it's in the back of your mind. So you see Alexa out there in a suit and she's picking a Survivor Series team and she's not wrestling on it. You go, well, that guy did say she was going to retire soon. And it's like you build the case in your head of like, well, this guy said it. They said it wasn't true. But if this is wrestling, they could be lying. Like you go through all these different layers of what could be happening. Yeah,
no, it's true. So the next one is SmackDown joins Fox. Well, we kind of know that already.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, that's.
So that's why some of these I'm kind of like, well, how long ago was this done? So another one, Ronda Rousey's 4 horsewomen are incoming. That kind of makes perfect sense to what we've been talking about earlier. New WWE agents take over, and there's a picture of Matt Hardy. So there's rumors that he's going to become an agent, although I heard that Matt Hardy has been returning at house shows. So
yeah, I think he can, if he has a light wrestling schedule, he can do both. Obviously he shouldn't be jumping off of ladders and all that shit anymore, but he can still wrestle like a match.
And he would be a great agent, 100%.
Oh yeah, I definitely would. And the other person they have as an agent is one of the guys that used to be with, who's the guy that used to tag with Zack Ryder? Kurt Hawkins?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had him. He was, when he was injured, they had him be an agent, and I think they're going to continue that. You know, he's enhancement talent at this point anyway, so he'll wrestle his like 1 or 2 matches, the dark matches, get somebody over, and also agent matches, which is pretty cool. So,
well, Jason Jordan's doing that now too.
And well, Jason Jordan said on Twitter this week, it sounds like Jason Jordan is trying to make that comeback.
He wants to make the comeback, but he hasn't been cleared yet, so he's doing whatever. But they still gave him the job backstage and everything. Oh wait, yeah, WWE.
I wonder how far along he is. You know, I wonder if there is progress. You know, does it look good for him or does it look bad? That's kind of. I'll be interested to know how far along his rehab is.
Yeah.
What happened with WWE? You get an alert on your phone?
I just got an alert, but the alert just says, how will Raw react to Becky Lynch's invasion? It doesn't. All I saw was Raw and Becky Lynch, so I thought maybe they were calling it. So sorry about that.
Yeah, no, I was hoping for, we could.
Yeah, it's going to be retaliation tonight for sure.
Oh, no, definitely. But I thought maybe it was something in relations to the rumor that's been circulating all day. So all I saw was WWE Becky Lynch, you know.
Yeah. Now, well, there was something who posted it? Was it one of you guys might have posted it about there was potentially going to be a tip-off, like there's an informant telling Raw that SmackDown was going to.
That was an alleged storyline that they apparently scratched. I posted that. I got that from Wrestling News Source.
And I think that would have been fun if somebody was selling out SmackDown secrets and who's the rat and who's the mole, and then all of a sudden they turn on SmackDown, and then that person is now part of the Raw roster because they. Well,
here's the funny thing: they scrapped that after it was released about Becky having the broken nose and the concussion. That story was literally scrapped within hours after the report came about how bad she got injured last night.
So to follow up on that, people have kind of been speculating that with the way that Sasha and Bayley have been given nothing on Raw recently, that the reformation of the Wrestling Four Horsemen would be Sasha and Bayley jumping ship to SmackDown to join Charlotte and Becky.
Well, now that could work because the next one that the Sportster claims is going to happen is that AJ Styles goes to Raw. So, maybe some trades, you take the 2 girls, that kind of thing.
Did you trade Sasha and Bayley for AJ Styles?
I know you want to leave them. They should do a shakeup where the belts switch shows. That would be interesting to see Brock on, like if they did something like a shakeup where the world title, men's world title switch, the Universal titles on SmackDown, and then they make it a blue belt.
Yeah. Sorry if you heard that, but Alex heard me say Sasha Banks, so he just walked in the room and says, "Can I be a legit boss?"
Yes. Well, you can be whatever you put your mind to. You've got enough time left.
NXT officially a 3rd brand. I mean, I think that's inevitable.
Yeah, I think so. They're testing it out. I think that could be. I don't know what it is. Like, there's just something about they don't have like a true headliner where they can tour outside of Florida just yet. Or that little area where they go, like they do Florida. Maybe they might do some outside states like Georgia. I don't know, but it's a very small territory. If they had, if their idea is to make it a brand and they sign guys like a Cowboy James Storm, or like you had Bobby Roode back down there, or you had somebody who's like a headliner and not somebody that you're grooming to go to the main roster. That's kind of their issue. Is every time somebody gets really good and really hot, they just shoot them up to the main roster. If it's going to be a 3rd brand, you have to leave some talent there, like Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era. Those guys got to stay there for at least a little while more to build it up as a real 3rd brand.
Yeah, I agree. So here's an interesting one. John Cena retires. Do you think he officially retires?
I don't know if he'll ever officially. Like, The Rock never really officially retired, right? We never had a retirement.
No, I guess not.
Rock. Yeah, I think he can, especially if he plans on appearing. That's really the relationship between John Cena and the WWE is what that's going to boil down to. Because if he decides at one point that the wrestling thing is done, or like Stephanie or Vince or somebody has a problem with him being a part-timer and they ask more of him than he's comfortable giving, then he could just, I'm retired, part ways, we're all done.
Yeah.
But if they want to maintain that relationship, I mean, biggest superstar of the last 20 years, you gotta keep him on in some capacity. And I say this, you know, I mean, listen, they're doing fine without him, but you know, it's always nice to sprinkle in like somebody he can come in, do a thing, go back leave for a little while. He doesn't have to be on every week.
I agree.
He's the new Undertaker.
This kind of piggybacks off what you were saying. Main roster talent drafted to NXT.
What?
So maybe if you want to beef it up and become a brand, like during the draft, somebody gets drafted to NXT.
I can, that would be fine. I mean, what is Chad Gable doing on Raw that he couldn't do in NXT or 205 Live?
He wouldn't be with Bobby Roode, and that's what makes the whole.
Yeah.
You know,
I feel bad because he's definitely a tag team specialist, it seems like.
Yeah, it's a shame. He's great. But
I don't know how I feel about taking main roster talent and bringing it down to NXT. I don't think I'm really digging that. I think that takes away from what NXT's currently got.
Well, remember, they're not going down to NXT if they're making NXT a third brand.
But still, I don't.
It's going to be like that situation where, well, ECW is a third brand, and you're like, yeah, but it's
exactly. Well, you just took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, but here's the difference. ECW rebranded sucked because it wasn't Heyman's ECW, whereas NXT will still be Triple H, will still be his thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a difference there. I don't know.
With more of Vince's power, I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know, though. I don't know. I mean, Vince seems pretty happy with the way it's been going, so why fix something that's not broken? You know what I mean?
But if you mainstream that and put it on regular, like you need mainstream it, like put it as a third brand show on regular television as opposed to just being on the WWE network.
Then that's when Vince would want to get involved, yeah.
You're going to get more storylines and more stupid stuff as opposed to what people really watch NXT for, which is the matches. You're not going to get your holy shits, this is awesome and everything if it's getting mainstream. I don't like it.
I don't know. It really depends on how they do the whole thing.
Yeah, because if they're going to put one of the things that was talked about was Fox, because there's Fox, the main cable channel Fox, and then there's their Fox Sports brand.
Right.
And they were talking about the Smackdown being on Fox the network, and then taking NXT and putting it on like one of the like FX or FXX or Fox Sports 1, where it's not the main network, but it's like one of their offshoots.
Still don't like it.
That I don't like.
Yeah, but that's kind of I heard it a long time ago, so it could definitely change. But that was like a thought was, we could have it as another brand on another one of their channels. So it's like when you're watching Fox, they want you to start watching FX or Fox Sports 1. And then if you're on Fox Sports 1, they want to try and direct you back to the main
That
network.
makes me dislike it even more.
So, but it's going to be, it would have to probably move more than an hour, right? They'd probably bump it up to 2.
That's another thing.
And that would I was just going to say that might mess it up too, because then you have more time for the stories.
You have more filler in it. And then
nope.
Like last night, I think I said it earlier, Raw was a very good 2-hour episode, thinly spread over the course of 3 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, well, we say
it all the time, but if you trim the fat on that, it's a nice.
But it was one of the better 3-hour ones than what they're producing in weeks.
Yeah, it has actually been. It was a good show.
It was well done.
It had some shitty segments, but it was a good show. Yeah. So I'm not going to complain too much.
Segments like Dean Ambrose's rap.
No, that we're going to pretend just never happened.
Yeah, I like him and I liked his performance. I just didn't like the setup. Right. So if you change that a little bit, that's a good segment. See what I mean? There's
room for improvement.
Right? Yeah, definitely.
Not failing it. You're still getting a good grade. Exactly.
Right. There's definitely that's the term. Room for improvement.
That's the mom thing in me. Sorry.
The next thing is Aleister Black joins main roster, which I'm sure we pretty much all felt was inevitable. And then a major international pay-per-view. Now, wouldn't Saudi Arabia be considered?
I was going to say, didn't we just have 2 of them?
Right. So that's why I'm saying this is, I think, kind of written a while back. Because then,
I don't know if they're trying to insinuate that they're going to do a UK pay-per-view. They haven't done one in.
Well, right. Maybe they're
years.
talking about that. But then there's Roman Reigns finally turns heel, which I don't.
Yeah, that's a little old.
That has to be old. Well, he just started his chemo treatment this week.
Well, no, but it's not even that. But even if you're believing the article that it's current and you say, well, maybe when he gets back, but how do you turn him heel now?
Yeah,
now the crowds are going to love him. Now they're going to get excited. So that whole thing is gone. Women's tag team champions, that's happening. We're seeing more and more women tag teams come together. So it's just a matter of time. And then the number one thing that apparently is being reported is that WWE is going to buy Impact Wrestling.
Yeah,
listen. The man bought WCW, so I know,
but this comes up every couple years. Like back when TNA was actually TNA,
true.
There were rumors about it.
You thought he would have owned it by now already.
Like, what? Wouldn't you buy it back when AJ Styles and Samoa Joe and Christopher Daniels and Kurt Angle were all working there? Like that's when you buy Impact. Now you don't buy Impact for. Sorry, Sami Callihan, I love you, but you know what I mean? Like you don't go, well, that Ohio versus everyone, we're just going to buy Impact. It's like, no, you sign away the guys that you want. I don't think there's enough part and part, unless it's including the tapes. This is my caveat here.
Right.
If it's including the tapes, sure, because then they've got footage of AJ and the Hardys and Kurt Angle and Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode. If you sign back James Storm, you've got Mickey James, you've got footage. So you've got footage to use and to promote if you buy that tape library. And that might be the best outcome for those of us who have the WWE network. That might be the best outcome because then we can watch classic Nitros, classic Impacts, all that on the network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
definitely.
True. Did we have some questions? I think we had 2 in the inbox, right?
I did. Can one of you guys actually read them for what I posted? Because I can't pull it from my phone. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I can.
That would be kind of difficult since you're on the phone.
Yeah, I don't know why my computer doesn't like me, but you know.
So Kaylee sent one.
Kaylee's the one, by the way, that is the one that her boyfriend is like obsessed with Seth Rollins from that video.
Yes. She called us lovely people. Hello, lovely people. You don't know me that well. I wish I could say that was true. Hello, lovely people. Do you guys have any predictions for Survivor Series and also for NXT War Games? I wish more of us were here so we could do our full Survivor Series rundown.
Yeah.
Where's Ryan when you need him?
I know. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to have a hell of a time picking out the sheet for Survivor Series.
Yeah, it's going to be a real crapshoot now because there's a lot of what ifs. Like we don't know what's going to happen right now, especially with a few different.
Yeah, but even think about like Shinsuke and Seth.
Seth Rollins is going to lose because of Ambrose. I mean, that's my guess.
Right, but. You know Ambrose is going to interfere. Is he going like does he interfere and Seth wins by DQ? Or you know what I mean? Like there's a wrench in that Dean Ambrose is going to be the wrench in everybody's picks because depending on how he does it, Seth could either win the match due to the interference and still be screwed over, or he can lose. And I don't know. There's just different there's different things that can happen there. Brock AJ's up in the air because if Drew or Braun gets involved.
Braun Strowman.
There we go. But, if Drew or Braun get involved, that changes the whole landscape of that AJ Brock match because then maybe AJ goes over due to interference or whatever. I mean, do we have that happen? There's a lot of potential for interference.
Brock Lesnar. Who's going to win? AJ Styles or Brock Lesnar? Roman Reigns. Wow. Okay.
Oh, well, of course. Listen, he's been trained by the WWE. He already knows who's going to win. Roman Reigns.
And Dean Ambrose. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
A 4-year-old.
Excellent.
I don't know how to call anything yet. I really don't.
I really don't either. It's a crapshoot.
The weird thing is about War Games. There's the War Games match itself is for like all the titles that they have are on the line.
Yep.
So the UK title is on the line on one side, and on the other side, it's the tag titles and the North American Championship. right? It's like it's a weird situation.
Yeah.
But Kaylee, you officially stumped us.
I think War Games is going to be, that whole show is going to be great because you've got Aleister Black against Johnny Gargano is one of the matches on that.
Yes,
it's going to be ridiculous. NXT War Games.
See, that's what I mean, though. You see Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano as a match. I'm sorry, I don't want to see that on regular television.
Oh no, because you'll have every time Aleister, it's Black time, Aleister Black, the darkness of the WWE, and some fucking stupid hashtag. I'm sorry,
exactly.
But okay, so there are only 4 matches: Shayna and Kyrie, and it's 2 out of 3 falls. Who the fuck knows what happens with that? Because if they're gonna do this, what they're gonna do with Survivor Series, that means Shayna's got to be free of the NXT stuff and go to the main roster.
Right.
She's got to drop the belt, even though she just won it at Evolution. Or did she keep the belt? There you go. No fucking clue what's going to happen.
I mean, it wouldn't be uncommon for titles to flip, pay-per-view after pay-per-view.
This is true.
I mean, this is WWE.
Yeah, and of course,
that's uncommon on NXT.
It's uncommon on NXT. But the other match that I didn't mention, because there was the 3 Shayna Kyrie Undisputed Era against Pete Dunne, Ricochet, and the War Raiders. That's going to be a hell of a match.
That's going to be a great match.
I can't call that one. I can't wait
to see what the War Raiders can do in this kind of setting. Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, and then Tommaso Ciampa, Velveteen Dream for the NXT title. That's going to be a very good match.
I think Velveteen goes over.
That would be very cool.
That would be awesome to see.
He definitely deserves it because he's been the gatekeeper. He's been putting over all of these guys. All of the guys on the show had to beat Velveteen Dream and then move on. Ricochet did it. They all did it. So it would be nice to see him get rewarded for his service. But
so Kaylee is listening. Kaylee is listening live, and she just PM'd me. Sorry, I stumped you guys.
No, it's good. It's better than a softball. All right, so my dad sent in a question, Jim, about I guess if you haven't been following our local indie promotion, Northeast Wrestling, there was a tag team that I'm friends with the guys, Keith Youngblood and Dan Evans. They would tag team together as Adrenaline Rush, and recently they split up, and Daniel Evans joined Brian Anthony's army, or Brian Anthony's Royal Court, or whatever they're calling it. And now Keith is a singles wrestler. So they've kind of gone their separate ways here. And let me just try and zoom in because I'm trying to perspective on the breakup of Adrenaline Rush and where it might be heading. Is Youngblood in line for a Northeast Wrestling title shot on his own? I, personally, as a friend of Keith and seeing how far he's come from a guy that was 125 pounds soaking wet.
And just doing security.
Yeah, literally taking tickets at the door and showing people where to sit. I would love it for him to shoot up the ladder. It does kind of leave Dan in the lurch, and that's why they split him. When they spun him off, they had him with the Brian Anthony, Royal Court thing, which is a good, that's a good place for all those guys right now because they can kind of play off each other, and it's like they've got ranks almost, because it's like a royal family type of deal. Very old school kind of Memphis thing with the royal family going on. But yeah, it would be nice if Keith was, he's already been in one of the ladder matches for a title shot. So I think if he continues on this path and he impresses the right people and has good matches and does all the right things, as in terms of taking care of yourself backstage and making sure everybody likes you and all that stuff. And you play your cards right.
He's a good dude too.
He is. And here's the thing. I don't necessarily he's 210 pounds now. And like I said, he was the skinniest guy I've ever seen in my life try and wrestle. One of, there might be a couple other guys like American Kid, Dan Brignolo is one of them. Skinniest guy ever. Zane Bernardo was skinny. Zane put on muscle, but Youngblood was super skinny. And, he's put on a lot of weight. He's a heavyweight ish now, light heavyweight. He wrestles that kind of high flying style. It'll be interesting to see if he adds more power now that he's bigger, if he does more power moves, more heavyweight stuff, tries to transition from the high flyer stuff into a more not all grounded, but more grounded. I think that could be his trajectory. He's tall. He's got a good look. I think he's got potential. So I wish him well. I hope he does well. It's hard to predict somebody's trajectory on the indies because there's always potential for, well, he doesn't work there anymore. He works here. Oh, he works for Big Time now. Oh, he works for, PvP now. He works for Beyond. He doesn't work at this promotion anymore. He moves on to somewhere else. So it's hard to say, you'll lay your plans out, but you don't know what happens. So, I mean, wherever he ends up in the next year or two or whatever he may do. And I think if everything goes well, he could be a player for singles titles, because him and Dan proved themselves as a tag team for a couple of years now. And I think, I think Keith or Dan, Dan is another guy that I've watched, and he wrestled for a while. Then he stopped wrestling for several years and got back into it. So, he kind of had to get back on the horse, and he did. His promos are really good right now. I think Dan cuts some really good promos for the level that they are on the indies. It's hard. There's not a lot of good promos in the indies, so when you find one like that, you want to stick with them. So either of those guys could do well for themselves whatever spot they're put in, and that's the thing that I think that they've proven. Whatever spot you put them in, they're going to say yes, sir. They're going to lace their boots up and they're going to do the thing, and they're going to try and knock it out of the park. So I think either of those guys has potential. And if the plan right now is Keith, if they're strapping a rocket to Keith, I'm all in. He's the guy.
I agree.
Very cool. Eric posted into the group, by the way, to say on his break, hello to us and hello to all of our viewers.
Excellent. So Eric is back on that grind. I was going to say the 9 to 5 grind, but it's not even the 9 to 5 grind.
Anything as that is anything but a 9 to 5 grind.
I know, but I'm glad he's working again. It's
gonna make some killer money on Thanksgiving Eve. I'll tell you that much.
I think so.
Justin made almost $800 last year that night.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, what about? I can imagine that whole weekend. If you're driving, spoiler alert, he drives for Uber amongst other things. I feel like that week, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, people go out and it's like a mini, almost like a school reunion day. Yep. So you get a lot of drunks that day. And of course, Thanksgiving, people are probably drinking. And then Black Friday, what the hell? It's Friday. You got the day off.
Back in my heyday before I had kids. Oh, Lord.
Really?
Oh, Lord.
We'll save those stories for another time, but I can't wait to hear what kind of shenanigans happened.
Wasn't as bad as the LIRR with the Bon Jovi fight.
Oh yeah, the Bon Jovi fight. That's classic.
Wasn't as bad as the Shiner on the LIRR coming home.
Yeah, that's no good. No question. It doesn't look like because Amanda had to go to Las Vegas, so she didn't field questions on Instagram like she usually does. So we don't have them from her. But if you are interested in submitting a question, hashtag AskTheWarReport, and you tag @TagMeADate on social media, Instagram or Twitter. Or AskTheWarReport@gmail.com. Kat gets those emails. We get the Twitter and the Instagram stuff just through the hashtag and the tagging @TagMeADate, hashtag AskTheWarReport. And at the end of the month, you'll be entered into a pay-per-view pick'em contest where one of our question askers gets selected to get a WrestleRumble.com pay-per-view pick'em. Now, WrestleRumble.com pay-per-view pick'ems only cost $5 to enter, but you can get a free one. And if you enter and you pick well, you could win one of their top prizes. If you finish in the top 10 on a WrestleRumble.com pick'em on either War Games, NXT's War Games, or the Survivor Series on WrestleRumble.com, you will win some prizes. I don't know what they are this month, but they're usually something like title belts, tickets to a future WWE show, cash prizes.
Cash, yeah.
Yeah, cash is king. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity there, WrestleRumble.com. And, of course, TagMeADate.com is free to sign up. With our roster of over 70,000 superstars and divas, you can find your match at TagMeADate.com. Is there anything we can give the fine folks about our progress? In terms of the excellent.
Absolutely. Tune in next week. 100%. We will be making the announcement for the release of Apple and Android apps.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo!
That is what I like to hear.
Very
Alex,
well.
go woohoo!
Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy. Okay, never mind.
There you go. So, yeah, tune in next week. That's a good tease to find out more about when we're releasing the Tag Me a Date Android and iPhone apps. I'm excited. That'll be a good
Kevin Owens.
be a good it'll be a good thing for Tag Me a Date, because I mean, even though right now, if you go to tagmeadate.com on your mobile device, it will absolutely work. It'll scale down to your phone screen. Everything is the right size and the right format. But there's something about having an iPhone app. You know, most people say, "Do you have an app? Like, can I go to the store? Can I download an app?" That's what consumers want. There's an app for freaking everything. So it'll be nice to have the official Tag Me a Date app up there with the big boys, competing with the OK Cupids and the Plenty of Fishes and all that other stuff. But the difference is tagmeadate.com is for wrestling fans, and if you think that is the direction you want to head, you can find somebody who enjoys wrestling. And that's kind of a hard thing to breach when you're talking with somebody, when you're first starting to meet them. Maybe they're not into wrestling. Maybe they think it's that fake stuff on TV. You know, if they're not into it and if that's an important thing in your life, then the match maybe won't happen. But at tagmeadate.com, that's already built in. You already know that they like wrestling, they watch wrestling, they're interested, and you can go talk about other things. What are your other outside interests? What else do you watch on TV? Movies, sports, whatever else you want to talk about, because you know that the common connection is already there for wrestling. So go to tagmeadate.com. It is free to sign up. I say this all the time. Sign up while it's free, because eventually we're going to charge money for this stuff, because we want to do this podcast from a boat one day. Live podcast from a boat. That's the goal. So sign up for
We're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yes, we're gonna do the Jericho cruise, but it's gonna be the Tag Me a Date cruise.
Oh my God, that would be so amazing.
And it's just all the speed dating events are hosted by wrestlers.
No, not Apollo Cruise, a cruise, Alex.
Oh man! All right, so I think any other tidbits we need to drop off for people, or any other things we didn't discuss or haven't touched on?
I think that's it. We got a couple minutes before SmackDown, and we got to see what kind of invasion is going to happen.
Yeah, there has to be a
retaliation.
There has to be retaliation, especially because I mean the pay-per-view is Sunday. So I
didn't even realize that it was this week until they said it last night. It seemed like it went so fast.
It flew by. It seemed like that Survivor Series. I mean, this whole fall season, I guess I'm getting old, flew by.
But you know what? They spent so much time filling in about the crown jewel.
Yeah.
That there was like no buildup to the Survivor Series. It feels like they just threw it together.
Right. And all the women's stories happened at Evolution. So you got to,
Right. They feel like they just threw it all together. Yeah, because they spent 3 weeks on Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey when that could have been spent building up for, like, it seemed like the invasion came out of nowhere last night. Even though it did. But like, it was like, wait a minute, it's this week already?
I know it's I'm the same way, but at least they did something. Like it got done, which is good.
Over their wishes.
Hey Alex, be Vince McMahon.
Oh.
You're
John Cena.
Oh, never mind.
John Cena. He's just naming wrestlers.
He normally does. You're fired.
Jeez.
Shane
McMahon. There you go.
I better hope one of these kids is a wrestler.
Well, you know what? He just started speech therapy like a month ago, and the speech therapist actually uses his wrestlers as hostage. So to make him say something, she holds his wrestlers hostage. So he has to say out an entire sentence in order to get a wrestler. So all he does is like, I can name every wrestler under the sun because give me my damn toys.
Wow. All right. Well, good. There's a goal, and he's hitting it. That's awesome.
You don't need to say Baron Corbin. Trust me.
I have a feeling. I mean, you've got enough kids where one of them is going to end up being a wrestler, if not more.
I got enough kids.
I mean, I'm just saying the odds are in your favor.
I got a freaking faction. Okay.
I know. Seriously, you do. All right. It's almost 8:00. I'm curious. Do they open up the show addressing the Becky thing?
Well, let's see.
Hasn't started yet, right? Or has it? Oh,
maybe it hasn't
just turned 8:00. Oh man, now I got to turn on my TV too. All right, well, I guess we'll leave it on. We'll see what happens. See if they're gonna.
Let's see
what they open with, and then we'll just close out because we'll go.
Yeah, now they're doing the today, tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
WWE, yeah.
So they're doing their, and they changed that too.
Which I like this one.
I like it. It ties in with Fox wanting it to be more like a sport. That's more like the intro to like a baseball game or a football game.
Yeah.
It's professional. It's clean. It's very good. I do like it. I'm assuming they're recapping. What are we starting?
No, they haven't done a recap at all. They're showing the live crowd.
Oh.
There was no recap yet at all.
Wow.
Well, now they're talking about that they're going to go bring you back to the events of last night of Raw.
All right. I wonder, are we going to get Becky's, replacement, or are we going to get a new?
Yeah, they're showing Alexa come out last night right now with Mickey. Of course, it's going to be super slow-mo. Then they're showing Ruby Riott joining the team.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about that. Ruby Riott. Why are they being so mean to Natty Neidhart?
I don't know, but a hell of a promo by Ruby though.
Yeah,
yeah, she did great with that.
Definitely, she knocked that out of the park. Obviously that's why they picked her up from the Indies. She's got something to give to the WWE. She's very good.
That whole squad, the way that they work, the three of them, is very good.
Yeah, I wasn't so sold on the blonde one for however long because I thought she was just trying to do like Alexa's shtick. But
Liv Morgan, is that which one she is?
Yeah, but she's different now.
Did you hear what the three of them actually did when they were in Australia for the showdown?
No, what did they do?
The three of them actually went out and each got tattoos said November 12th, 2017. They all got them done on their finger, and that's to commemorate the day that they got called up and made their debut on the main roster.
Well, that's nice.
They had posted that on Instagram, the 3 pictures that they had done.
So they're still doing
yeah, now they're showing them getting their butts kicked in but they did not show Nia Jax punching out Becky.
Yeah, they're not gonna highlight that.
Now Ronda's in the ring. They're giving the fast version of this.
Oh yeah, because this was a 5 or 8 minute segment. And it was really, it was great. It was really well done. But yeah, you can't just replay the whole segment.
And even showed her not trying to knock out Peyton Royce and Peyton Royce screwing it up.
Huh.
I don't know why you would intentionally want to show that again.
I don't know. But if they...
And now they're showing the chair shots.
Yeah, obviously they have to address... If it turns out that Becky's out, they have to address it somehow. They either have to write her off in story or I don't know. They got to do something to...
I'm assuming with the way that they're starting this that they're going to show Becky right after this. It would be stupid not to show Becky after they're highlighting her right now, even after the ass kicking that she really took.
Like, hello, Paige here.
Yeah, exactly. That would be kind of stupid. Or and then if you really want the people to really be against Charlotte Flair, if you start with Charlotte Flair.
Oh yeah. Man, that is.
They just announced Becky Lynch will not be competing.
Okay. All right. Well, now we'll leave everybody to their devices. I guess we'll end on the bombshell.
Of suffering a broken face and a severe concussion last night. Oh, now they're showing what Nia did close up. Wow.
Oh.
All right.
That'll do it.
She's out.
Gotta watch SmackDown to find out what happens. We're not gonna.
They're slow-moing it. She didn't even punch her in the face. She took her entire forearm to Becky's face.
Oh.
That was not a closed fist punch at all. Her elbow caught her smack dab in the nose.
And a broken face is bad. I noticed when people were saying broken nose, but then somebody said she was bleeding out of the eye. I'm like, no, that's not a broken
that's not her nose. Like they just showed it or whatever. That was an entire forearm right to the front of her face. And they got a slow-mo of her face there. It's right under her eye and her nose.
That sucks. Well,
her face is broken.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of SmackDown, everybody. Remember to follow Tag Me a Date on social media at Tag Me a Date. Go to the YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com. Tag Me a Date. No spaces. Tag Me a Date. Smush it all together into one word. You'll find the Tag Me a Date channel. Like and subscribe.
And they're starting with AJ Styles.
Hit the bell and subscribe to the channel. We do this every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on Eastern time, so adjust the clocks as you need to. Figure it out for your own time zone, and we'll be back next Tuesday, 7 p.m. on Eastern time, right here on the Tag Me a Date YouTube channel for another edition of the War Report. Before we see you again next week, I hope you go to tagmeadate.com and sign up. It is absolutely free. Send messages, search for your tag team partner on tagmeadate.com. Once again, it's free to sign up. So we'll see you again next week, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you for watching.